It's alive. It's alive.
Except it isn't. Um, Frankenstein. I actually didn't think I'd be talking about the worst films I saw in 2014 because actually sometimes talking about bad films is actually depressing because you see so many bad films. It's kind of difficult to kind of muster the energy to even sort of dismiss them and talk about how terrible they are. And I saw a lot of bad films in 2014. I think I might just give it to I Frankenstein, which I just saw on DVD. 2014 for me was there was a lot of very disappointing movies. Godzilla. I thought the trailer kind of made me think, wow, this actually might be quite good, and it looked like it was going to be a smart take on the Godzilla thing, and it unfortunately is just really quite bad, which is a real shame. Um, Also, I saw a film called Automata, which I had very high hopes for. It's a science fiction movie with Antonio Banderas, and it's like a fourth-rate Blade Runner. And again, from the trailer, I had high hopes. I thought this would be a really cool kind of take on the singularity, the idea of robots replicating themselves and then wanting to live separately from humanity. But Automata is essentially like a fourth-rate Blade Runner with some really weird, bad casting and some bad performances all around. And it's a real shame because it's got some nifty ideas, but it's just a very unfortunately very bad film and a bad science fiction film, but it's just a bad film in general. Film Noah, good lord, uh, Russell Crowe. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was terrible. It was bad. It was bad. And again, that's really cool look to it, and it had some kind of cool ideas going on with it. But it's just it was bad. It was bad. It was very bad. I earlier on in a Fluffcast, I talked about Scarlett Johansson giving for me the female performance of the year in one of the best movies of the year, which is Under the Skin, which you should all go and look for because it's simply fantastic. But she also appeared in this terrible Luc Besson thing called Lucy. Luc Besson basically, kind of rehashes the same ideas. And my guesses are the same ideas he had when he was a 15-year-old boy, because this is just a babe killing people in spectacular fashion movie. There are some nifty kind of like science fiction ideas thrown in. If you've seen the trailer, you know it's about the idea of the brain capacity and a drug that sort of increases brain capacity. The idea of an evolutionary advance in humanity because of that. It's got some cool things going on, and it's directed with a certain amount of verve, I guess. But it's really just a very bad film. And again, a film that as I was watching it, I just really couldn't wait for it to be over. Neighbors. In some countries, it was called Bad Neighbors, which I'm guessing is just an invitation to critics to shit all over it, as I hope that they did. I had the trailer made it look like it was going to be a lot of fun, and we thought maybe we might have like an Animal House for the 21st century. It's about a couple who move in next door, a fraternity which moves in next door to this couple. Um, and it was a very kind of interesting take on the fraternity comedy. Basically the frat boys, who are just about to graduate college, are getting up to all the usual kind of frat boy nonsense. But the couple they move in next door to are a couple like in their late 20s who have a child, and it's really about the couple's kind of trying to reclaim their perceived lost youth. Um, but it just didn't capitalize on the ideas, and it went for a very silly, crude comedy when it could have gone for something better than that. And Lisa Kudrow is in it for like 5 minutes. She is by far the best thing in it. She knows more about comic timing than everybody else in the film put together, and I wish she had been in the film more. I think perhaps if she'd been in the film some more, I might have actually enjoyed it. Likewise, now I saw this film in 2014. I don't know if it's actually from this year or from late last year, but We're the Millers with Jennifer Aniston and Jason Sudeikis. Another sort of disappointing. I was really hoping for like a decent R-rated comedy because we haven't really seen a really good one for quite some time. And again, this just it missed the mark. It had some cool ideas with great cast. The always the always wonderful Catherine Hahn, who really needs to be used more in movies because she's fantastic. She's great in this. She's the best thing in it. But in general, it just kind of like it just wasn't. It was had some funny moments for me, and it was by no means terrible. It just was disappointing. More, it's disappointing more than anything else. So Dracula Untold, which is just well, I mean, I really wasn't expecting much, but it's even worse than I thought. But I suppose Charles Dance deserves some kind of credit for sort of wearing the makeup and sort of chewing the scenery. No pun intended. Sorry, it's a vampire story, obviously. Being Dracula Untold, and it's kind of a gory sort of retelling of the Vlad the Impaler legend with some supernatural Dracula elements, kind of thrown into it. It's quite bad. Frankenstein, though, again, I really wasn't expecting much. I Frankenstein. First of all, I hate to be that guy, but shouldn't this be called I Frankenstein's Monster? Aaron Eckhart is the monster, and this film basically begins right where Mary Shelley's Frankenstein ends. And so basically, he's burying his creator, Victor Frankenstein, when he's set upon by demons. And all of a sudden, we learn that for centuries, there's been a war going on between demons and gargoyles. And gargoyles are fighting on the side of God, and the demons are fighting on the side of Satan. So this is basically Mary Shelley's Frankenstein by way of John Milton, or perhaps by way of Underworld. And it's really quite bad. And although some of the actors, I think, know to have a good time with the very, very, very ripe dialogue, particularly Bill Nye. Bill Nye plays the villain, and he chews the scenery with aplomb. And he, I think, has a lot of fun with it. But in general, everybody else is kind of struggling, and they're delivering very bad dialogue very badly. And Aaron Eckhart, is a good actor, but my God, man, you need a new agent, because how did you ever think this was going to be a good movie? I don't know what Aaron Eckhart, has done to deserve to be in this, or who he owes by doing this for him. Maybe he lost a bet. I don't know. But it's terrible, and it's got it's got some kind of. I mean, they put a lot of effort into it. I'm sure it wasn't a cheap film to make. And it's got the makeup is kind of cool, like the demon makeup and stuff, and the gargoyle makeup is kind of cool, and the visual effects are okay. They're a bit cartoonish in one or two spots. There's lots of fire, because it's demons, and fire, is a. I was just whining the other day about water. Fire is another one that has difficulty being replicated by CG convincingly and realistically. There are a number of things. There are two consolations in this film. Two. The first is it's barely 90 minutes, so it's only going to waste an hour and a half of your life if you choose to watch it. And the second thing, I suppose, by way of consolation, is that perhaps somewhere out there is an English teacher who could maybe use this terrible, terrible film to introduce their students to Mary Shelley's novel. Those are the only two consolations. It's really quite cheesy, and for a 12-year-old boy, who I suspect is the demographic for this, they might enjoy it in the same way that a 12 or 13-year-old might enjoy something like Dracula Untold. But for everybody else, it was a painful experience for me to watch it. But I was determined to kind of get through it. Because I wanted to talk about it, because I'd heard very bad things about it, very, very bad things about it. I'd already seen it on several lists of like the worst films of the year, and I thought, well, how bad can it be? And the answer is very, very, very bad. So yes, I Frankenstein for me, I think might be the worst. But like I say, I saw a lot of very bad films this year, and a lot of very disappointing films this year. I have high hopes for 2015. I'm sure I will see some good films, and I expect to see a lot of bad films, and I'll be here talking about them again at some point. But yes, you could do worse than watch I Frankenstein, because I'm sure there are other really bad films out there that I didn't see. I didn't see A Winter's Tale with Colin Farrell, which everyone tells me is just horrific, and that may be worse than this. I don't know. But yeah, I Frankenstein. I'm sorry. Sorry, Aaron Eckhart. You are a good actor. and you need a new agent. Bye.